Hello. Well, thanks to Jules Peck and the others who have invited me for this Next Economy project and the webinar. So my name is Michel Bauwens from the P2P Foundation, and before I get into the solutions framing that I was asked to do, I need to say a few words about the specific point of view that we are taking at the P2P Foundation in regard to this Next Economy. So what we see is three different things. We see seed forms emerging that actually form another type of commons-oriented, common-centric economy. So first of all, we see the emergence of global open design communities, which are now able to do through open contributory systems a massive scaling of cooperation and creating things like the Wikipedia, Arduino, Wikispeed, WikiHouse. So that's the first thing, these global open design communities as a new human institution. The second thing is we see around these commons two models. One is an extractive model of, classic companies that have an extractive vision on how to maximize profits from these human and natural resources and also from this knowledge, or generative business models from a new type of ethical entrepreneurs that seek to cooperate with the commons, with these global design communities by creating livelihoods around these commons and that enable people to continue this kind of contribution to shared resources. And a third human institution we see emerging is those of the for-benefit associations. So usually in these ecological systems, in these ecosystems, we see associations like the Inspire Foundation, the Linux Foundation, the Wikimedia Foundation, that enable and empower the infrastructure of cooperation. So this is an image, a summary image of a new type of economy where knowledge, techniques and science is shared globally, where people are trying to make a living without destroying those commons, and where they find democratic solutions to all work together in this particular ecosystem. Now, some of the issues that we need to solve is one, as I just mentioned, the extractive nature of some of the businesses that work around these commons. Think about Facebook. Great system if you think about how it enables all kinds of P2P cooperation, but none of the monetization is plowed back in the people who co-produce the value. Second problem is the non-engagement or the insufficient engagement of the alternative economy in these new models, which means that actually it's the extractive businesses which are reaping the benefits of that human cooperation. The lack of funding is a really huge problem, and generally speaking, the fragmentation. So let me now talk about the solution space as related to these issues. So here's a few things that I think we need to do. One is we need to converge different models. So we see people working on sustainability, saving the planet. We see people working on fairness, the solidarity economy, social justice. And we see people sharing knowledge and sharing eventually other resources. Within each of these streams, people are fragmented, let alone that the different streams work together. So one of the important things we need to think about is how can we converge so that we have a free, fair, and sustainable mode of production. And so things we work on in the P2P Foundation is, for example, open co-ops to converge the solidarity models with the open models, or the open source circular economy to converge the sustainability models with the open models. Second, ecosystemic thinking in territorial terms. So I think we should look at things like the mutual aid network in Madison, Wisconsin, or En Commun in Lille in the north of France, which are attempts to look at the time bank, the food co-op, the credit union. How can they actually work together? How can they create an alternative stream of ethical value? So this is very important. Third, generative business models. One example I like very much is Inspiro.org, in a New Zealand-based coalition of social entrepreneurs. They have a commons, Lumio, open source decision-making system. They have 18 business ventures that try to solve human and ecological issues, and they have a foundation that manages their common infrastructure. So we need to study and promote these post-corporate, non-extractive models. So it's very important. This is a big part of the solution. We can't just rely on the old models, on the extractive models, to actually work in harmony with the commons. Defragmentation through policy would be another thing to look at. I think about the Bologna regulation for the care of the urban commons, where neighborhood collectives can propose policy to improve their neighborhoods, streets and squares, with the city as an enabling mechanism. I think about sustainability empowerment platforms, where cities could create multi-stakeholder platforms that unite people that do non-toxic food, renewable energy, mobility commons, etc. So bring together all the good ethical actors in this new economy, bring together the user communities, and look at how to create integrated alternative ecosystems that replace the private supply chains. So a big role of policy and of cities and eventually larger territorial entities in this. A big issue also is funding. And there is a big paradox again that the venture capital extractive models are very aware of the benefits of the new sharing models. But ethical finance, for example, will not invest in peer production like WikiHow or Wikispeed because they're asking for intellectual property as collateral. So we also need to solve the funding issue, find funding streams which can fund production projects that are free in terms of sharing, sustainable in terms of the physical ecosystems, and based on fairness in their reward systems. So a lot of things to do, but I think knowing what to do is an important first step, and it's important that we unite and coordinate the alternatives, creating a maximum amount of mutual alignment. Thank you so much.